Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined once more by Ren in the sweltering heat of England, not Saudi Arabia, as we discuss WWE Night of Champions, the latest WWE pay-per-view that aired yesterday evening here in the UK. The time difference, it not being America, meant I know you didn't get to watch it live. It started at 6 p.m. in the evening and it was done by 9. Oh my word. What a world to live in. Ren, how are we doing today?
I'm very good. Unfortunately and ironically for us Europeans who always complain about never watching these at a reasonable time, yesterday, for me at least, was the one day in the week I couldn't be at home between 6 and 9 p.m.
If I hadn't been dog sitting, I would have been with you and Josh yesterday in London, and none of us would have been there.
You can bring her next time.
I wish I could.
I want to meet her.
She'd jump in the Thames, then my sister would disown me. That's what would happen. But I got to watch it live. It kind of dawned on me very quickly as well. Like I think because obviously Saudi, we've got to talk about Saudi Arabia later on. I have some terrible things on my F1 review about Saudi Arabia, but that's another conversation also.
Great segue.
Yeah, but this is obviously their PLE for this year. Crown Jewel is going to be in Perth in Australia, so we didn't get King of the Ring monetized as the name. They returned it as Night of Champions, which I agree with. But before we even talk about last night, because we didn't get you on for Money in the Bank, very quickly, your thoughts on Money in the Bank and all the winners of each.
I like the event in general. I thought the matches themselves were fantastic. I was rooting for Stephanie Vaquer. Naomi won, and I think Naomi's earned this. It's a result I can't be mad at. The men's, I felt that Seth is not a bad choice. He's an interesting choice. It's just a matter of what are we going to do from now on. And so far, I've enjoyed what they've done with him holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. I still think he should fail the cash in ultimately, but I don't think, not to skip ahead of what we're going to talk about, but I thought last night they did very well in not being the cash in.
I agree with you. It's going to be fun talking that because it's something that a lot of people are discussing. Is this going to be a quick cash in? Is this going to be something? I think, without sounding like a typical internet wrestling community person, I think it's very telegraphed as to the women's cash in being at SummerSlam. Me jumping way too far ahead, and obviously we'll get to Jade's match later. But I really hope we get Seth with this he doesn't need to cash it in the logic of. He doesn't need it when Damian Priest had it, and I don't mind saying this, he looked really dumb. And I think Triple H, if I'm honest, has a problem with Money in the Bank. I don't think he's the best at making the holder a character with it. Great at doing the cash-ins, but I think he struggles when they're carrying it. We had so many Tiffany Stratton false cash-ins, and Naomi in a few weeks has had a few. You don't need to evolve a character too much, but I think with Seth being in a group, it makes it a bit easier that he doesn't need the easiest cash-in opportunity in the world. Given he's already given us one of the best cash-ins, if not the best cash-in of all time already, it gives him a little bit more off his plate that you don't want to replicate that. So if every pay-per-view he just walks out at the end, I'm fine with that. But we'll talk about the end because I'm going to talk about a potential belt switcheroo, which we've seen on the news in recent weeks. But if we do start talking Night of Champions, we do want people to comment and get involved, whether you saw the PLE live, whether you're watching it an unfathomable time. Even in America, man, you guys would have got this. Sorry, my voice sounds weird, like it's on the way out, but this would have been like 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. in America. That's bliss. I would love to wake up to watch wrestling for 3 hours and be done.
Same.
Because normally for us, it's like when wrestling is done for us, that's 4 a.m. normally. Yeah. So any time that isn't, that feels like a reward. I know that obviously Perth is going to, as I said, get Crown Jewel. So that does mean we get a 10 a.m., 11 a.m. one again later this year.
10 a.m., baby. And then we go to lunch.
Yeah, literally. Good times in Elimination Chamber.
It reminds me when I was a kid and we didn't have Netflix and online streaming and all that. And I just watched it when it came on national television, like on Sunday morning or on Saturday morning. That's when I used to watch it.
Ours was so we had it on Sky Sports here, and I didn't have Sky, So I'd have to go to my friends' houses, and on the off chance they put wrestling on, I got to watch it. But then when YouTube became a thing, and this is showing my age now, was it capped at 10-minute uploads for the first how many years, YouTube? Like,
yes, I didn't even remember that, but you're right.
Yeah,
It was.
and wrestling was like Elimination Chamber
Yeah.
part 1 out of 4, part 2 out of 4, and you'd have to find all the parts to watch something. I'm going to like 07, 08 territory here with that. So yeah, that's my we are truly blessed with Netflix here in the UK. And then on BT Sport, and no one likes BT Sport. Even BT Sport subscribers don't like BT Sport. They're just a joke, so I'm glad they lost it. But yes, we do want people to get involved. But if we sort of open this event where we'll do it in order of the card, it did open with the King of the Ring final, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, 2 superstars from SmackDown. The winner of this will go to not WrestleMania, sorry, will go to SummerSlam. They didn't say main event, but for all intents and purposes, main event.
Yeah. It's 2 nights this year, so there's no excuse not to be the main event.
Exactly, and this is kind of where I'm leaning with it, that before we even talk about the winner of this, last year we had Nia Jackson Gunther win King and Queen, and the pay-per-view, sorry, the King of the Ring, the tournament, was that like the start of May? It was way earlier than this year.
Yeah. Because last year they did one-on-ones, and this year they did the first round was Fatal 4-Ways.
I want to give them credit. I think this has been much better this year. The gap to Summer, because it did feel like 2-3 months Gunther would be waiting for that title shot.
Yeah.
And then try and play it. We don't know who he's going to beat to get it. And obviously, we were at Clash of Castle together. That was mid-June. So it must have been mid to late May when they did that last year. And I know obviously we've got Evolution in 2 weeks' time, I think it is now.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Whilst obviously that's female wrestler orientated, which I'm fine with, and I'm really curious to see what they do. Obviously, we've got an injury we're gutted about with Liv Morgan, which has obviously changed that entire card. I think it feels a bit like the Royal Rumble spot now, where it's like you win King of the Ring, you get your opportunity very soon in a main event. And I've got to say, like, it feels a bit more of a bigger thing. And if SummerSlam's going to become the 2-night event now compared to before, I feel like this is a really good prelude to SummerSlam, that it's not so far away. You're not bothered. It means they can just set up the rivalry tomorrow morning if they needed to. Obviously, there could be some shenanigans at Evolution. There could be anything happens on the weekly shows in the next 5 weeks. But a 5-week gap, I think, now to SummerSlam is more than enough to build up to the winners. And I've got to say, Randy versus Cody, I loved this match. I love the fact it's the first, obviously, one-on-one they've had together since, obviously, way before. Did they say since 2012 or 13, was it, did they first mention?
Yeah. The only thing I remember about their last match is that Cody lost, and Cody was in storyline, but Cody was fired after that match.
It's an interesting one because I don't want to sit there and say, oh, we thought they'd have ran this back. We rewind to like 6-7 months ago. Everyone was desperate for Cody Randy at Mania, and obviously the scene of retirement, all of that changes everything, which is fine. But I'm gonna give my thoughts on this. I really enjoyed the match. It was well structured. I think there's got to be heaps of praise on Randy Orton, who is so good at selling that back injury now. And whether there's a bit of realism in it that he isn't in the slightest bit of pain, every time he goes on his back, I'm actually sat there thinking, shit, because it could go at any moment. Exactly. But he's so good at selling it. And
he's been dropping on his back for 20 years, every single match.
Yeah, and I'm glad these two got that match, and the crowd lived up to the expectation.
The crowd wanted it. The crowd loved it.
Yeah, and I know that there's obviously a lot of contention with Saudi Arabia. I've got some very strict, open thoughts on the regimes and the certain treatment, the embarrassments of the women wrestlers dressed up as Power Rangers every time they're on. Fair play to some like Jay Cargill who turns into a cosplay, but the crowd, when they want to be good, were very good. It's just frustrating still that. We got should I say something very, very controversial?
Do it. This is professional wrestling.
3 or 4 of these matches on this card could have been at a SummerSlam or Mania.
Yeah,
Like,
or even more controversial on an episode of Raw.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. One of them I did. I mean, I know one of these was
And
announced
I'm
like
saying
literally
this
a week
about
ago.
one specific match, a specific match that was won, and one of the participants is one of my favorite people in professional wrestling. So I'm just being fair.
I mean, I'm looking at two that could be that for you.
Then we'll see what
Yeah,
they are when we get to it.
yeah. But Cody v Randy, like, I loved it. I've just got to add, and I want to get your thoughts on it first, but I did not like the ending. Not because of how the ending was structured, I think because everything else about this was so great.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt very sudden, like, my back, well, done. Pin 1, 2, 3. Like, the little scream from Randy Orton felt like a meme to be made. But I just thought, I loved the teasing of bringing back the punt kick. Could he do it to someone like Cody? Like, I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of talk about one of these two being a heel very soon. I think there's narratives that everyone thinks whoever lost this would probably get a heel turn at some point, which I think could be on the cards. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get it sooner than people may think. But what did you think?
I love this match. I think it's fantastic. I thought it's strange, especially seeing as it was such a great match that it was opening. But at the same time, if you want to have a killer opener, you have a match like this. These guys know each other very well. They tell a story together very well. The storytelling, the psychology was all 5 stars on this match. I am with you on the ending. To me, it's a matter of just give it a little breathing time between because Randy's complaining about his back, but he's been complaining about his back for a while. Have a moment where Cody just checks on him and then goes for the crossroads. And Randy just can't make it. But yeah, a correct winner. This is a more interesting story. This is a story that needs to be told about over anything else. So I liked it. I think we were off to a good start.
No, I'm with you. And I think, as you said, this would be a main event if it wasn't John Cena versus CM Punk.
Yeah.
Like, this is something people wanted at Mania. This is something WWE have intentionally held off from doing. And I really respect them for holding off in doing this as well. But to get it, and it doesn't feel like, great, we had a match, they're done. No. This is gonna definitely go down the road for maybe a trilogy at some point, dependent on where storylines take individuals within this. I think we're looking at a trilogy, many of which could be at pay-per-views or whenever. One of them could have a belt by the time they want to pull the trigger on it again. Like, there's no rush. Mm-hmm. And I'll talk about that later on with the Cena match, but I think WWE's hit this point now where I don't want to sort of like slag off, how wrestling was 10, 15 years ago, but you'd obviously have the same 2 or 3 individuals against each other time and time again. And sometimes letting them breathe. And like Punk v Cena, for example, right? They got, they were in the ring together at the Rumble. They had that lovely face-off at Elimination Chamber. Yeah. And now they've had their feud. They didn't make it instantly a thing. Randy v Cena, I understood that, their rivalry, but they could do it again in 3 months if they want to, and that'd be absolutely fine. So I'm glad WWE doesn't just throw it. Even Punk versus Drew, who was probably the best feud of last year, that was done. It wasn't just 3 PLEs in a row, but the fact you had all these months of build-ups to it, and to still take their time in doing so, I think there's a lot of credit for how WWE handle the bigger matches now. Because I've got a really controversial John Cena comment for later, which isn't about the match. It's actually about individuals surrounding John Cena. But if we move on to the next one, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah. I will say this, and I feel bad for Raquel because she never gets a pop, and we can just say it doesn't count in the Saudi Arabia crowd because she wouldn't have got a pop even if they loved her. I thought she was very good in it, but it's very difficult right now having her pairing up with Liv. I didn't like at the start, but it grew on me, and they worked as a team. And I do really like Raquel. And I like the build-up to this, that they were going through the archive of their history. But as you said, this is a Monday Night Raw match. And there were some good spots, and I thought it's the best Raquel's looked. Can she do it without Liv? Mm-hmm. Yes, she can. And there was other shenanigans going on. But the Riptide on top of the table, loved it. Obviously not through the table, on top of it. But you're following the King of the Ring match, right? Like, you don't want to. That's the spot that not many people want. But I thought it was fine. But as you said, there was nothing to me that said. And obviously, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think this was going to originally be Liv Morgan versus AO. So, sorry, because obviously that was the so-called plan for before the injury. So, again, I'll be totally honest as well. If this was a feud match, couldn't this have been in 2 weeks' time Evolution?
Yeah.
Was there anyone else they could have chucked on last minute? Like, I know they don't want to just. Is there a political conversation there? They don't want to go to Saudi with only one women's match. They do want to try and say,
my guess is generally Saudi asked for Rhea Ripley to be in action. That's
probably true. I could see that. Like, just her to turn up and then put a match on. And exactly. I will say, not that I'm going to judge people's appearances. Obviously, when they Power Ranger up the women in Saudi, having two of them just in all black makes it not like hard to follow. But it sort of also does. Like, it's like, I know you're not into football, but it's like if you have two teams playing in the same coloured kit, isn't it? Like, you can still know who is who, but just on the eye, like, it could be a little bit different. And obviously, one of these was shiny and one of these wasn't. But I just wanted to add that. Have you got any more to add on this one?
No, I generally thought it was a good match because they've done this match before. They did it in NXT. These two work very well together. I just didn't think there was enough in the story that made you invest in, like, and of course Rhea Ripley's going to win, but it was never, like, I never thought Raquel would win. So the tension just doesn't exist for this match. So not to say it's bad, but it's another one. Look, these two great athletes got a paycheck. They got to travel out of it. Good for them. I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, no, I'm by that. And then next up, another one. Maybe controversial, another Raw match.
Especially because of the winner, I don't disagree.
Sammy, I mean, we know that Sammy was going to go to Saudi. Like, they love him. And I love that as well. I'm all for him with what he wants to wear as well, for all that sort of side of the conversation. And I love the fact that Karrion Kross has made it to a PLE. They've obviously been teeing these two up together for a very long time.
Without ever having a match on Raw.
This is it. This is why it felt like when I saw this was announced, I was like, what? Like, Karrion's doing a PLE? Like, I know that people are fuming. There's those articles like, oh, yeah, that even though he's doing well, he's over, there's still going to be no push. And it was all this. It was like, suddenly he's at a PLE, and obviously he took a back. He took a bump on his back to just, I think, make a further point at the nonsense articles online this week. And I liked him in this. I don't have much thoughts on the match, if I'm totally transparent. Like, I wish we'd have had a bit more of Karrion on. I know obviously he's not on Raw enough. Like, we see him hovering, talking, laughing, doing what he wants to do. But
please put him on Raw.
I was going to say, I hope this isn't you've had your moment. Bye bye. Like, I hope this isn't. You've all had him now. Shut up, because I didn't. Not like I dislike the ending. Sammy was always going to win this, but I just wondered for longevity of story. If this hadn't been in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if Sami Zayn would have won. I don't know if he'd have needed to have won, but with where they were wrestling, it was only going to be Sammy that wins this. I thought, Purse. Yeah, it's a weird one. I want to see more from him. I don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. As many articles can say what they want, or they want to get rid of him, they want to do this with him, they don't like him. He's on a PLE. And I think even if they didn't like him, you're not going on a PLE in a match. Like, this isn't an R-Truth thing rolling back for the jokes or anything to release on the day after. This is, there's someone here that people have vested interest in. There's someone here that, sorry to be the guy that says it, oh, Jey Uso will defend him because if you were there in the building, you'd see how popular he is. That's the official excuse, right? Well, we've seen how popular LA Knight's been for 3 years. And Karrion Kross is now one of the biggest merch sellers, did I read? Like, people are buying his stuff to basically be like, so the whole logic of who's popular in an event doesn't count. Like, proven, and I'm glad he got his match. I didn't care for it particularly, and like I said, it feels, again, there was talk, right, of AJ versus Dom Mysterio at one point was going to be there. Like, is it another cover-up one? But I'm just hoping, as you said, the same, we get more from him in the future. I've got nothing more to add on it. unless you've got anything to.
Yeah, Karrion Kross he's got the it factor. Whatever you say about him, the guy has it. So I definitely want to see more from him, and he should have won this. He generally should have won this match. So we'll see tomorrow, because tomorrow we got Raw earlier too. We get Raw. It starts at 11, I think, our time.
Do we?
Yeah. They keep saying it like an early start time of 3 p.m. ET, and if I remember correctly, that's 11 p.m. our time.
3 p.m. ET is 8 p.m. for us.
Is it
3 p.m. unless it's 3 p.m. PT? We're 5 ahead of E, 8 ahead of P. Unfortunately,
let's just check on Netflix.
Which country is it in?
No, it's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is there some like big event happening in America potentially?
11 GMT.
11 p.m. Okay, 6 p.m. So that's 6 p.m. ET. There must be something. Sometimes if like America, don't they, like they'll pull it back earlier if it's like a day holiday or something.
Because of basketball or something. I don't know what else is on. I just know that.
I almost got excited then, thinking, Christ, we might even have it earlier than that.
I got excited.
I thought, oh, this is in Saudi, clearly not. But we know at the end of August they're going to be in France, which means we're going to get SmackDown and Raw, and I mean Raw's going to be here in
the end of August.
Monday 24th is when it's 24th. In Birmingham. That's going to be like 6 o'clock here. Then they're in Lyon on the Friday, and then the Sunday they're doing clashes on the Sunday, and then Raw on the Mondays in France as well.
I'm probably gonna do
Venice.
I'm probably gonna be in Venice while that's on.
Nice. It's even easier. Yeah. Americans would be fuming. How dare they? How dare they have 2 live events in 3 months at a fashionable time? Just
looks back on the past 50 years of professional wrestling.
Stupid. One day, the day we get Mania, that's when it all changes. Until they announce it for London and Vegas takes it from us for 3 years in a row.
Wow.
But let's go to one. Jacob Fatu, the US title champion, in his second defense in 70 days. Second official defense in 70 days.
Wow.
Up against Solo Sikoa. Obviously, the first defense was Backlash when he won because of Solo. Yep. How do we go with this one, Ren? I've got one strong opinion, and I've got a second opinion that I can give them a future apology for.
Okay.
Stated opinion number 1: this is a disgrace of a result. It's an embarrassing reign for someone that should be having like a Gunther-style reign. The defense of this is if he's getting parachuted into that main event scene for the belts. Like, I'm not saying like in 6 months. I'm saying like after Summerslam.
You did say Gunther was coming to SmackDown. The draft is
this is what I'm living. Oh, is the draft after SummerSlam now?
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if they have a specific date already, but I remember reading the draft is after SummerSlam this year.
Okay, so I'll counter. Jacob's going to Raw. And they'll put him away from Solo and his now. How many? So you got Solo Sikoa. You
got Solo, Tama, Tala, Tonga, and JC. So you got 5.
A 5-man stable.
War games.
What's Jacob good? I mean, 5-on-1 would work for Jacob. I'm just going to say this about Solo. I always thought he was the weakest part of the bloodline. And I still maintain that that's factual. But I've got to say, now they've given him the mic, he's so much more entertaining. Like, they've allowed him to like not develop his character, but give him a bit more freedom away from Roman and the others. Like, he's a bit more of a. I don't take him seriously, like not like Attitude Era, because everyone just says someone's funny, they could be the Attitude Era. But it feels like there's something going on there for him as individual.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a sneaky coward, but it works for wrestling. That he's always going to just hire someone else from that family to turn up to help him. And yesterday was not a good day. Sorry, I keep thinking my voice is going to go at any moment. It's not, but
you sound like Paul Heyman in an in-ring segment with LA Knight.
Don't. Does it keep just going high every few moments?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was funny though. In fact, LA Knight comments on it, but I I can only see the logic of Solo winning this belt is because there's other plans for Jacob. If there isn't other plans for Jacob, then they've literally just, they built him up as the next Omega, right? Like, he's this. I don't know if they said it. This is the first pin he's taken, I believe. And I know it's not clean, but I thought they were really protecting.
I think they did a good job of protecting Jacob with the
and like I can deal with. Oh, look, the JC annoyed took the referee away. They brought back a return. Hayes still kicked out a monster, and then the new guy came, and it's like 7 foot tall and destroyed him. And you sat there like, okay, so he's lost, understandably so. But I'm glad he didn't go out to 1 interference. The fact it was 2 and a debut to do so, I can live a bit easier on it. I just don't. Again, if there's a long-term plan to get him away again to a different brand or to go into the main event, in which he will do, he will. Well, I could see face Jacob versus Gunther, right? Everyone wants that match. And do we have the chat now? There are reports going around that they may be looking to essentially swap not the belts, but the individual with the belts on each show. So the discussion I've seen it a lot. It's not been like one random rumor. It's cropped up a few times in the last few weeks. Is Gunther going over to Friday Night SmackDown with the Heavyweight Championship, and John Cena coming over to Raw with the WWE. Now, my own opinion on that is, I called it. I've believed that Netflix, this is a conspiracy, not anything factual rumor. I've always been on, I thought basically Netflix would have the main title on Netflix ready for January just gone. I thought they were going to put Cody on there because if Netflix are paying $5 billion or however much it is to have it worldwide, everything, they're going to want the most prestigious title. Nothing against the World Heavyweight Championship, unless it had been Big Gold. It's not the Big Gold. I just assumed they're going to want it on Raw, and I understand that for marketing reasons, for stature, for name, for the weight of the brand. Yeah, the fact that this is now looking like it's going to be official. Obviously, we don't know until it happens, but I think it works for the stories and the shows. Like, take Gunther as an example. We've seen him beat most of Raw in the last year or two. Like, we've seen him dominate in the last year. Actually, that's a more important title. Which faces do you have left on Raw that could go up against the heel Gunther? You've got Jey Uso for the 6th time, and CM Punk, who, let's be honest, CM Punk's into like his Shawn Michaels phase to me, where he doesn't actually need the belt to carry a feud or anything, but obviously they want to get him on the belt at some point, and no doubt he will have it at some point in his run. But I'm sat there thinking, heel Gunther versus face LA Knight for a WHC. Interesting. Yeah. Heel Gunther versus face Jacob. There's actually a lot of potential for those belts and individuals to cross over. And
on Raw, I got 2 names for you.
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
You got
Penta, if you want. You could do Sheamus again for the World Championship. But the most interesting, and you didn't remember this one because this person has been injured, Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, I thought about Dragunov with Gunther, but everyone knows they want Dragunov on Gunther, don't they? Like, I think when he comes back, he'll just be going on whatever show they want him on. I think they'll just pretend he's not been drafted. And I think it makes a really interesting proposition for WWE. Now, would that mean they swap the women over too? I don't know. I don't think they need to personally, but I think, looking as a polite consensus, the Cena retirement tour is great because it's putting one person at the center of the main belt for an entire calendar year, which means in the background they should be doing everything else to clean up around it, to plan the future. And I just sat there thinking that this will be a way. Like, Cody beat everyone that he went up against last year, which is great, and he was a great champion as well. Yeah. But again, with him as a face, they ran out of the heels that he could go up against quicker than people thought. And, I'm not talking about house shows because house shows are great. They're great with test people. But I think now's a good time. Like, let's be honest, the draft last year was a joke. Pretty much no one changed. You've essentially had the same for 2.5 years now, right? So I think they're in dire need of it. Certainly the tag divisions need it. unlucky for SmackDown, they're probably going to lose half and gain. And if SmackDown gained some tags that have been terrible elsewhere for the last 6 months, then we'll find out if SmackDown are going to turn them into greatness, or if SmackDown are going to be like, no, we can't save these. So I think WWE's in dire need of this draft. Post SummerSlam, as you mentioned, is absolutely fine. It's one of the big 2 pay-per-views. War Games is War Games. It basically can put us on a clear reset for Rumble next year. So yeah, I'm on that. I just think, yes, going back to the Solo stuff, it feels like it's a part of it, right? Like Solo, I'm fine with him as a US title holder, but to beat Jacob, it's just got to mean Jacob's going on to bigger and better, which we know he's all capable of doing and being. So that's my thoughts on that. It's a weird way to talk about the match itself. I don't have many thoughts on the match, if I'm honest. No,
me neither. I think the only thing worth discussing is the ending, the return, the debut, the where is Tama Tonga of it all. And I think they did a good job protecting Jacob with how they executed it. I think Solo as US champion can be very interesting. That's like the right title for him to hold if he's going to hold anything. While I don't think JC Mateo will be a world champion, but if he's still at Jacob, you could have told that story of Jacob is world champion, but then Solo gets jealous because he's supposed to be world champion and all that. So I'm just interested now to see what they're going to do, because I don't see any of the guys that are currently with Solo having a very successful singles career out of that. At least when I say successful, I mean beyond the US Championship.
Yeah.
I don't see any of them getting any more than that. So yeah, I thought the ending was fun. Let's just keep protecting Jacob.
No, agreed. I'm with you on that. And let's talk the next one. Penultimate match of the night. Jade Cargill versus Asuka for the... Sorry, it's really embarrassing for me.
The women's king of the ring.
Women's king of the... I think you text me last night, I've had the king of the ring. I was like, men or women? And you were like, queen. King. I was like, sorry, king, yeah. And I was like, oh, I keep forgetting it's queen of the ring. And it's really embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I just keep... Because obviously WWE's been synonymous with the term king of the ring. Mm-hmm. I don't look at it as like an individual, just look at it as an event.
No, I get it. 100%.
I was just sat there he literally said which one's been spoiled. But
the women's king of the ring and the men's queen of the ring.
Well, I mean, could you imagine telling that to the Saudi Arabian royal family? We're at the men's queen of the ring tournament. They'd be like, get on that plane. We'll leave you stuck at an airport for 5 hours the first time we come over here. All right. Do you know what the highlight of this match was? Jade's entrance as Storm from X-Men.
Yep. I was literally we were watching it. Actually, it wasn't that channel. It was the night before. We were watching SmackDown, and my housemate we were watching. I literally said, "Oh, she literally looks like Storm from the X-Men." And I look at him like, "Yeah, that's the fucking point."
She did Deadpool last year, didn't she? As well, she's obviously doing it on bodysuits. I think it's cool, and the contact lens looks amazing. I've got to say, I did not care for the match. I know it's the fight. I know it's Queen of the Ring. I'll be totally honest. I think since Money in the Bank, it somewhat feels so incredibly telegraphed that Naomi will have a successful cash-in. And a lot of people, I guess you could say, have said it's probably going to be Jade at SummerSlam taking the belt from Tiffy and
Naomi cashing it.
Naomi instantly cashing in to set up and further the Jade feud, which I think Triple H it's what's best for business by a country mile. Then you can eventually bring in Bianca, and you can have the three of them.
Triple threat next week at Mania.
That's literally what I was saying. That I can guarantee that's a potential triple threat next year. Bianca versus Jade versus... Because did I read that Jade Cargill was about to go and shoot a film as well? I'm sure I read that recently.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember who it was with. Oh, yes, I remember who it was with.
I remember too. It's Jonathan Majors, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I had to think that. I was like, which controversial person was it that I groaned at? And I was like, no, it wasn't Mel Gibson. I was just going for the terrible people.
Well, do you think, because she's going to do that, do you think she wins against Tiffy and Naomi cashes in, or they keep her winning the title until Mania and Naomi comes and cashes in before the match is even over?
I think Naomi's going to cash in on the night, momentarily after she wins it and just destroy her.
So you think she's winning and then Naomi cashes in?
Yeah, same night. And I know they obviously wouldn't have it main event night one of SummerSlam should be Naomi. I don't think they'll do Jade versus Tiffy because that's not main event enough. I'll get on to who I think will be main event night one after this, but a closing image of Naomi with the belt would be amazing, but I don't think they'll do it at SummerSlam as the main event. I think it will be SummerSlam though. I don't know whether it be night one, maybe open night two. I don't know what the best slot is. There's no official rules with the King and Queen, the ring winners, that they will get a main event slot, but I can see the visual image.
Their brand's champion,
and I like that. I like
it too. Yeah,
because it's a great way to what was the problem of the Rumble this year? All this silly eeny, meeny, miny, mo's between everyone every other night. Hated it so much. Especially when Juso wins the Rumble, says he's coming for Gunther, and then basically spends the next 3 weeks saying, who am I going for? But yeah. Let's talk main event, shall we? Because we know this is the actual conversation we want to have. John Cena, quote, for the last time ever, versus CM Punk. John must have got a controversial opinion for you. Punk v Cena is a better rivalry than Cena versus Randy Orton.
I agree.
Oh, that's fair enough. I don't know if that's deemed controversial, but I'd say
I think everyone was excited for Cena versus Orton this year because we hadn't seen it in like 10 years. But like last time we saw it before this, they were having matches every fucking month. It was 10 years of Cena versus Orton, Cena versus Orton, Cena versus Orton.
I think that's why. Because I can tell you this, and maybe I look an arrogant tosser, and maybe because the other comparisons are one of the best ever, but I couldn't tell you a memorable Cena Orton match. Not yes, when Randy Orton kept getting DQ'd. Yeah. They have had so many that everything is blended, and they are one of the great rivalries. But what I really have them as in my head is that was an era's face, and that was an era's heel, and they are the faces of their respective era, in the same way that that Stone Cold and The Rock are. Yeah, but you look at them two. Actually, it was actually an incredibly short time they were together in WWE. Like, when did the Stone Cold go? 2003.
Stone Cold The Rock he retired in 2003, WrestleMania 19,
and The Rock obviously dipped like. Not long after, so
a month after, because after that Goldberg came in, he beats Rock at Backlash, and The Rock goes.
Yeah, and if you think about, and they obviously they were out in the 90s together, but main event Rock was really you're talking like 99-ish onwards. Like
it was 99.
You think about how crazy, how short a 4-year WWE feud is, because you look at Seth and Roman, and you sat there like there's a decade plus of storytelling already, and it still feels like, it still feels like they haven't pulled the trigger on their rivalry, which is crazy because they so have. But again, and this was going back to earlier, Triple H is so good at making those rivalries feel special, and Punk versus Cena.
It's a TV show.
It's they could have ran with Punk versus Cena the day he came back, and let's be honest, everyone was talking about it. Elimination Chamber this year. They got the moment. They had the thing. They could have easily had Punk versus Cena at a Saturday Night Main Event or something crap like that, but they intentionally held off, unfortunately, for a Saudi show. And I have to say this, because I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. I am gutted that CM Punk, my favorite wrestler of all time, did a Saudi show. I'm not some childish arrogance. Like, oh, look, a tweet he sent out. It's a little bit more than what he spoke about, if I'm honest. It's a little bit more than that. It means a little bit more what he'd spoke about.
A little bit.
Yeah. Like, I've got thoughts on Saudi. I'll never be letting, but I know it's not a country I want to go to in my life. But, I know he said, I apologize to the Miz. I'm sure he did. And I mean that unsarcastically. I'm sure he legit did. Like, they amended. That was always the report. Him and the Miz amended it first. That time went to Raw. But the fact he'd held off Saudi for so long in making sure he didn't go, it felt like a pitchfork. Like, and Punk versus Cena is going to be exciting. I was just sat there like, how can we find a way to not get Punk on the plane? Like, will they find a way in Canada? Because when they did the face off, it was he was saying like, yeah, I'll fight you in Saudi Arabia, and it felt like an evil, like, oh, because everyone knows Punk won't go to Saudi, and then obviously Seth came out, cut off the answer, and then it was on Twitter, and WWE's like, yeah, it's official now, and I was just sat there like, fuck's sake, like, I just think I've lost I don't want to say I've got integrity for people I don't know, but I think it hit a bit hard of Punk for me, if I'm honest. I really thought that was one of the really, really, really big things he'd be like properly against. And I know Cena did do one of the first Saudi shows, but everyone's got their price, haven't they? And unfortunately, Punk's one of them that his was met. No form of any protest or wearing something that, everything no trans flag. Not trans flag, sorry. He's done the trans flag before, but there was nothing on his ring gear where before you think he'd be the one that would make an edgy comment by having different ring gear. So, yeah, I was a bit gutted. That's just the build-up, but I've got to say, loved it. Because as much as I've just bashed CM Punk for being a hypocrite, and I'm jumping too far to the end, the fact there is an unclean finish makes me think that we are going to get Punk versus Cena in a one-on-one again this year. And I will double that. I also still think we're going to get it with Randy. And I've said that from the moment Backlash happened, that I know they can keep advertising it as last time ever, but it's not going to be the last time ever. There's still 5 to 6 more months of this John Cena feud. There are still more appearances.
Well, it depends on who he wants to work with.
I think Cena wants to work with Punk again. Do you want me to, can I say a really hard, honest truth?
Sure.
After SummerSlam, when he gets the rematch of Cody, which we know has been in the pipeline for a while, we've got a comment about the double turn, but this is something a lot of people are talking about as well, which I think might be a bit too soon. Bar maybe Seth Rollins, only Seth Rollins, not Roman Reigns. I don't think there's anyone that deserves to have a title shot against John Cena that isn't Randy Orton or CM Punk. And Cody. That's very controversial. I know. I'm looking at the end. And as the time's gone by, I've looked at John Cena's final thing as, right, you know how he'd always put over people with the US title run and all this grace if he spent years putting people over. Now we're getting to that retirement. I'm looking at a Shawn Michaels. I'm looking at a Ric Flair, a Triple H, Undertaker to an extent. Oh, no, I would like to see Cena versus AJ if they wanted to run with that. Sorry, I'll have that one in there.
Yeah, they still have to run with that one.
Yeah, ignore me. The AJ joins that group I mentioned, but I'm going to be like, I don't want Cena versus Jacob. And I love Jacob. I don't want anyone that hasn't already had a history of John Cena, because if it's about saving professional wrestling, it actually needs to be a legend that stops John Cena. And John Cena, as part of his character, is going to need to come back and turn and be a face again. And I lean at Cody Rhodes as the ultimate face to do that. But then I'm thinking more about CM Punk, and it's what the last few years led me to, is that rivalry. Like, I think Punk and Cena, I think they get the best out of each other. And on top of the fact they can cook each other on the mic, that they can do insane promo, that generational.
Was so good.
I know. Oh my God. Like, imagine being there when the Thugonomics song came out. Like, the fact John Cena couldn't break character as well. Like, that is ingenious. Like, by WWE. Don't get me wrong. I loved parodying the pipe bomb, but no one expected Punk to do Thugonomics. And the fact he had his own merch and everything for it.
Punk Life.
They've got to rerun it again. It to me, like, John Cena's last ever run can't end with him having non-stop DQ. When that title belt came out last night, and I'm sorry I haven't let you have your thoughts, but I'll just say this before we go. I was sat there like, you are not going, and it's been my biggest criticism of the Cena run, is like, why can't we just have super evil heel Cena? Why does he keep needing to smash on the head of a belt? He should be allowed to beat these people as a villain whilst being a villain. And I loved last night's ending. Yes, it was messy and it was dirty, but the fact you had that tinker of John Cena shaking hands. Okay, he did the meme, the hug, but you're starting to see the flicker of him coming back to the light. And whilst I don't think Cody's going to be the one to do it, I think Cody will have a huge proportion in making Cena come back to the light. I think it's going to be Randy or Punk that actually does it. So I know I'm way over the edge of talking about, I haven't even really mentioned the match, but I just think I'm not against Cena's heel run. I've got to look at it as 11-month thing. It's like a TV season. He said he'll be doing it from January through to December. So I don't, again, it's not even July yet. So there's obviously more to come. If evil heels, well, I'd say this, like, obviously this is really dumb, but if he was a dastardly heel, do you know what he should have done? Insert himself into Women's Evolution.
And
would that not be the
Sikoa.
most villainous thing? I know that's really bad to say, but that's the sort of thing Vince McMahon would have done. But here's an all women's pay per view with John Cena.
I mean,
Like having
the first women's Money in the Bank winner was James Ellsworth. So it is a very Mr. McMahon thing. The winner of the first ever women's Battle Royal WrestleMania was Santina Marella.
I'm telling you to Vince, that's not a good thing. It's the next thing out of a croaky voice. We're happy there. But it's just, yeah, like I know I've waffled, but I know we've not spoken much, but what do you think of the Cena Punk stuff, right? Like, do you feel this is the last time ever?
I think it's the last time they go one-on-one. I think they're going to have another program. I've seen the not the rumors, but like people like clamoring
for the fatal four-way.
No, the triple threat: Cody versus Punk versus Cena. Because Cody beats Randy clean, but Cena did not beat Punk clean. So even though Cody won, he's going after Cena, all that. Punk can be like, "Hey, I didn't win. I didn't lose clean. This guy didn't beat me fair and square. I have another shot at him." So they make it a triple threat or something like that. So I think Punk is going to be on Cena's orbit, and you, Josh, and I, and many other people have talked about the speculation for Team TKO versus Team WWE, if you want to call it that, at War Games. Punk's definitely going to be there. Cody's definitely going to be there. Randy's definitely going to be there. Cena's definitely going to be there. So these guys are going to be in each other's orbit for the rest of the year. At this point, I generally don't see there being another one-on-one again, at least until like October, November, December.
Chicago. They got a pay-per-view this year? If Chicago have a pay-per-view, we're getting Cena Punk.
Isn't War Games there?
San Diego. Basically.
No, but they have announced something for Chicago.
But I just thought it's a good question to bring up. Sorry, I can really hear my voice go now. I'm turning to Paul Heyman. I'm not going to get a terrible fake tan, though. Oh, my God. Speaking of fake tans, sorry to really go off topic. Did you see the Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes clips about Braun? Like, I'm so happy KO's back in. I know it's a podcast appearance, but I'm happy like he's around. They're not hiding him from TV. Like I know obviously he's got to wait to have the surgery, but I think obviously he can do whatever he wants to heal. But I'm glad that that's happening. But yeah, the match itself, Punk versus Cena, it was fine until the interruptions. Oh look, the referee's been knocked out again. Oh look, John Cena's got the title. I loved Seth coming out. I'm going to tell you one of the funniest things I think I've seen. The save being Penta, who decides to emerge at 0.001 miles per hour to make the save.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he'd made the save in West Side Story. Like, I couldn't... It was so unintentionally funny. I know he's obviously got about that,
but then I was like, why would Penta want to save John Cena? He just doesn't like Seth Rollins. He's not there to help John Cena.
It was a very weird person to bring out because obviously then
it was like, where is LA Knight?
It was weird. It was just I like Penta. I think he's funny, but it was just so funny again.
Awesome for he to be like exposed and shown like on the main event with all these main event people, but it was a not choice. If Penta had come out and then you still had LA Knight on top of that, I could see what you were doing because it's like, okay, allow LA Knight and Penta and Sammy, like all the three of them versus Seth and Bronson and Braun. But just Penta, I thought it was very weird.
And Sammy coming out after, like, I'm fine with it, but
yeah,
that felt like I know it's too early, but that felt like a War Games thing, right? You know what you mentioned before, like if they're starting to, I don't know whether it would be Cena, but I can imagine. I think Seth's going to be involved at War Games, isn't he? Like,
oh yeah, so
unless he's got the belt, but I'm not opposed to Seth cashing on Cena, but then it wouldn't work a heel cashing on a heel.
If there's one scenario where I don't mind seeing Seth successfully cash in,
okay,
Cody versus Cena 1-on-1 at SummerSlam, Cody wins, Seth cashes in on Cody.
To put the
then next year at WrestleMania, you have. And because of that, you get the Seth finally having won over on Cody because Cody won all three matches last time. So then you go to WrestleMania, you do Cody versus Seth for the title, and Cody wins again, and there you go.
I am with. I don't know why Cody had to tell everyone he's planning the heel turn.
I don't understand why, unless because
unless it'll never happen. So he said it will.
It was between Mania and now, but like within the last few months, because 3 months since Mania, so yeah, within the last 3 months, I remember like reading something or seeing something and just getting that gut feeling. Cody Rhodes is not going to turn heel for a while. He's not going to turn heel for a while. And then he said what he said, and then that promo last night, which everyone's talking about, which I'm telling you right now, he only cut that promo that way because of what he said earlier this week about it, his face run being imminently ending. I think he's trolling us all. I think he's trolling us all at the moment. And maybe I'm wrong. I'll leave my words. Remember this clip.
Just wait till The Rock comes back out of nowhere and sets it all up again.
If he does come back out of nowhere.
He'll be promoting Smashing.
He's going to come out. He's going to do this. And then he's going to disappear for 2 years again.
And he'll say it's all part of the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a weird ending. It was wild. Like I think I messaged you like avoid spoilers because I just sat there like, the fuck's Penta doing here? The fuck's Sami Zayn doing here? Like, and I loved when Cena killed Charles Robinson. I loved that.
Yes.
And like, I loved the Punk trying to.
And you can see ages getting to that man. He was not running as fast as he was in Mania 24.
Yeah.
Not criticizing. Like it gets to us all. Those knees can't keep up, man.
But like taking that bump was great, and I loved that. Again,
he just flew to the steel steps.
Where I'm going with all of this is Seth Rollins is in the title picture for Cena's belt, not Gunther's, right?
Yeah.
CM Punk is in the title picture for Cena's belt. Cody Rhodes, because it's still technically on his brand, is in the picture for the belt. Obviously, SummerSlam, probably the main event night 2 final moment.
And he is the face of the company, so when that title goes to Raw, I'm sure he'll follow.
I think Seth going after them, and it just confirms to me that belt's coming to Raw, like immediately, because I kind of said at Money Bank that Seth could have cashed in on either John Cena or Gunther, and it's fine, but none of the other contenders in that group of 6 could have cashed in on Cena and done the program, which would have been too boring to put them one-dimensionally at one other person. Yeah. Naomi's is great because her program's going to be based on pre-existing storylines, and I just think the belt's moving, the shift around. I think WWE need it. It's a big landscape thing, and it's a weird way to end my thoughts on the match, but it's weird. I really liked the pay-per-view. I think I have such low expectations of Saudi Arabia, which is fine. Like I don't agree with them being there, if I'm honest, not to shut out actual fans, but it is just one of them where, we're hosting all women's pay-per-view. Look at women's wrestling. It's like brilliant. But 2 weeks ago, you were dressed up as Power Rangers. Like, I've got opinions on that. And it's not just that. It's other things that go on with that. And it's a widening sport washing contextualization conversation that exists far worse in other. Saudi Arabian influence on WWE is minuscule compared to what goes on with football, what goes on with F1. Golf they bought, didn't they? Like they bought the PGA or something outrageous. Like it's
I know they got a deal with WWE because I watched WWE. Otherwise,
I was going to say, it's not like exclusive to WWE what they do, but I think WWE's been the one.
No, and not to defend WWE because WWE, like at the end of the day, is a company. I like it as a television show, but I'm not going to defend the company.
Yeah,
this is a deal where the new management, the current management, rather, it's not
very open to
they inherited it.
It's a 10-year deal, though, right?
A 10-year deal. I don't know where we are right now. We should be at least halfway through because we started in 2017, 18. So we should be in year 7 or year 8 or something like that.
What I'll say though is UFC and TKO are very much in with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So I think should it get into 10 years, that's going to be.
No,
do you know what I'll add as well?
I'm going to be surprised if they renew it. I'm just saying the current one, they've inherited it. So I also, at least as of right now, during this term, we want to call it that, I'm not going to blame them for it. It's bad optics. It's everything you think about it. I pretty much agree. I'm just, if I focus too much on that, I can't enjoy the TV show that I like. But it's also that like it came with what the new management inherited.
What I'd say, at least the ring only had one sponsor last night. Like, again, did Slim Jim's table make an appearance? I know the table did. I can't remember if I saw Slim Jim on it.
I don't remember.
They didn't also got the power to stop for that. But yeah, sorry to into a weird sideways tangent.
No.
But I mean, do you have any other thoughts on the Cena Punk match? Like,
no. Again, enjoyed the match. I thought the ending was fun. Again, like, where is LA Knight? Why is LA Knight not here? But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting the Seth tease or anything. I like how it all happened with Seth and Cena, where they're not getting along. Seth was clearly like, intended on winning the title by pinning Punk, not Cena. And I like how they did the whole thing because they're both heels, but they don't quite get along. It just all really worked, really meshed well. And again, it intersects all these storylines where now you have alliances and tensions on the other side. And it all gets very interesting once the characters in the world interact. So this is the kind of shenanigans you want to see in a main event.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it is what we want from this main event. And obviously, as we are on the journey towards SummerSlam, there will be some stops on the way. Women's Evolution. We've got a Saturday night main event to come. The end of Goldberg, we all hope. But yeah, that's going to be me rounding out for this spoiler discussion. I feel like I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to lose my voice, so I'm a bit nervous. Everyone at home, though, comment your thoughts on Night of Champions. I reply to that via text message, not via speaking. We obviously do want to get your thoughts if you're a fan of wrestling. And obviously, there's a lot of other things happening on the channel. We're heading into Blockbuster season. We've got Jurassic World is out on Wednesday. Superman is out the week after. Fantastic Four is a few weeks away. It's been a very, very busy few weeks and months.
Yeah.
God, this is really painful. Thank God thank God it's not WrestleMania. So there's a lot more happening on the channel. Ren, what are you up to at the moment?
I am up to getting a Jurassic World Rebirth tomorrow. Review, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's when the embargo lifts, but I can't do it tomorrow. So hopefully Tuesday. And catching up on a few more movies like Megan, and then hopefully getting confirmed for the Superman screening and Fantastic Four screening.
Yeah, fingers crossed for both of them. Hope I see that. I've not done a press screening in ages, and it will be likely Superman. So, obviously, we'll put anything we can on the channel. Everybody watching at home, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one. Take care.
Bye-bye.